Hi everyone, welcome to this video, weekend update, and as some of you might notice, my end-fed wire for top band and 80 meters is back up with a difference. I don't know whether you can see very well, but the difference in height now from the G5RV is the antenna below and the end-fed, or the new version of the end-fed, is above. I've increased the height of it overall by about 3 meters, and instead of just running across the garden and down the garden to the house, it now runs over the house, the complete length of the house, to the front. So there's a lot more wire in the air, and it's quite a bit higher. I haven't tested it with any sort of level of power yet. It does match perfectly okay on top band and 80 meters via the ATU, but the difference is that when the original design was cut to be, taking velocity factor into account, cut to be about quarter wave for top band, half wave for 80, and this is more random. We've cut this to be 58 meters in length, to avoid any obvious half wave sort of resonances. So it's more random in that sense, but there's more wire in the air, and it's higher. So it's just an experiment at the end of the day. I'm not sure whether it's going to be as good as my old antenna or better. I imagine it'll be as good. Whether it will be better or not, I'm not sure. What I haven't done yet is I haven't had a chance to measure the bear match on either band, and also I didn't get time to. I was going to basically take one of my old sort of transformer projects and build a 9-to-1 Unan, specifically for this antenna. And it just ran out of time yesterday afternoon. So right now it just goes, it's the same as the old design. It goes straight into the back of the ATU, the MFJ 949E, and I'm using the same grounding point, RF earth, with the same 30 radials. So it does work, although annoyingly 80 meters this morning is not in good shape. Lots of signals on 80 last night, and top band. Notice I'm using the multi knob for kilohertz tuning after the firmware upgrade. But anyway, so yeah, in terms of making some improvements, then yeah, I think feeding the ATU via coax via a 9-to-1 Unan is something I'm going to do. And actually, I've got lots of old projects that I'm going to modify. Now, I don't think any of them are I keep seeing Ferrite FT140-43, I think, is what people most usually use to build a Balun or an Unan. I've got one that's FT140-75. So actually, anybody watching this video, I think that will be okay to wind a three-way 9-to-1. But comments would be appreciated. The other transformers that I built were for receiving, and 2 of these were for the beverage, I think, that I built, and I can't remember. The ferrite ring came from Maplin, but I can't remember for the life of me what type of ferrite it was. So anyway, so that's another plan to improve this antenna, particularly if it was, because I was going to go for an 80 meters in length to make this thing halfway for 160, and I could still do that. It's just that it would be a bit more convoluted in terms of its kind of geometry, and so I'm not sure. I'm going to try this first, see what happens basically. I mentioned it on the Friday night net, and very kindly Roger, the net controller, offered to his assistance in doing some tests once I've put some decent amount of power through that antenna. So So this weekend I'm going to be doing a lot of testing because that really is my mainstay antenna. As I've said before many times, that homebrew NFED blows away my G5RV in terms of performance. It literally blows it away. And I don't know whether that's because my G5RV the setup is no good. Obviously it's quite a bit lower to the ground, particularly compared to the new version of my NFED antenna. Not that the G5RV doesn't work. I was using it whilst in between times after my original antenna blew over a week or so ago, and it's fine. But if you do a direct comparison between the two, which I have done, the NFED wire does literally blow it away. So anyway, some more testing to be done on that. And it would be great. See, 80 meters at the moment is literally dead as a dodo. Yeah, it would be great if there was an improvement. I'm not sure there will be. Probably not on top band anyway, because the match on top band, the bare match was quite good. On 80 meters, the bare match on my old NFED wasn't that great. Wasn't as good, and so this may be better. I'm not sure. 80 meters is a difficult band to for me. I find to get the impedance right. Anyway, so there you go. Some work to do on the NFED wire, but good to have it back up. Also, this weekend is the third Harwell Amateur Radio Society 2-meter simplex net. Started doing this 3 weeks ago. Tim M0KP was the net controller on the first one. I was the net controller last week, and we're on a sort of rotational basis. We're taking it in turns to be net controller, although I've got a feeling that it might be either myself or Tim again this afternoon, controlling that net as other members have got things on, but we'll see. But it's quite nice actually. I quite enjoy the 2-meter net, simplex net. We use so the repeater is GB3DI, which is a repeater owned and run by the club. Sorry, what am I talking about? That's tomorrow. The repeater net for GB3DI is tomorrow, Sunday at 3:30. The 2-meter simplex net this afternoon, we use FM to make it all inclusive. So, you know, M6s, M7s, new members or whatever, new to the hobby can potentially join in with you know, 25 quid Baofeng. Obviously 2-meter ham equipment with SSB is more specialized, more expensive. So so that's this afternoon, and I think the first net we ran 3 weeks ago, I think we had 11 or 12 members. Last week we had 6, so I'm hoping that trend doesn't continue, and this week we've got sort of like 3. I'm sure that there'll be a few members joining, so I look forward to that. The other thing is that I can now announce that the radio that I've been sort of testing and writing a review on, that was all a bit cloak and dagger, is the Elad FDM-S3. So this is their new direct sampling wideband SDR. 970 quid's worth of radio, and I can now say this because my article has been published in Radio User magazine, so I hope you all go out and buy it. And it's really interesting actually, because the cost of this is about the same as the cost of the FDM Duo, which is obviously the SDR receiver that I've owned for a long time. And in terms of its in absolute terms, what you can hear, you know, the sensitivity of the S3 versus the Duo, selectivity, etc. I mean, all that stuff is determined by the FDM SW2 software. It's very, very similar. There's really nothing in it in terms of, if you had an FDM Duo and then you decided to chop it in and buy an S3, would you be able to hear more if you're just a DXer, casual DXer? And the answer to that question is no. But the S3 allows this millihertzing sort of application that's new to the hobby, whereby you can track radio signals over long periods of time whilst recording, so you can track a radio signal. For example, you can track the signal from VOCM in Newfoundland and Labrador on 590 kilohertz and track their signal for like 24 hours to a very high sort of level of precision, to sort of single hertz. And that you can actually then you can sort of retrospectively review that and look at how their signal appears in the evening, and then it's become, and then disappears again in the morning. And you can record spectrum bandwidths up to 24 megahertz wide, which is absolutely incredible, really. And I'm not sure, as somebody who's recorded the medium wave band, the entire band, many times, probably hundreds of times, if not thousands. You're recording a band there, from about 500 kilohertz to about 1.7 megahertz. So you're recording about 1.2 megahertz. This receiver allows you to record up to bandwidths up to 24 megahertz, which is incredible. And I don't think that the average DXer is going to want to do that or need to do that, but there are always people on the cutting edge pushing the boundaries of the hobby forward who are going to want to do that. And I've read articles from some of these guys. This is a highly sort of technical, complex aspect of the hobby that this Elad S3 is going to help enable. So overall, I won't give it away because you need to read the article. The S3 is a superb piece of kit. Superbly engineered, superb materials. Feels like a proper professional piece of kit. Similar price to the Duo, and I'm sure it'll be very popular, as all Elad products are. I'm sure it'll be very popular. And it was really interesting for me to get the opportunity to try one. So now that the article's been published, I have unboxing videos and videos of using this radio, which I will publish on the channel. But obviously I couldn't at the time. I couldn't do all that before the article was actually published. So they will appear shortly. And then finally, this morning, I'm going to go and see a member of the club and pick this up. That's a Kenwood TS480HX. So this is a 200 watt radio, and the reason I'm picking this up is because having bought the BLA 350 linear amplifier at a very good price, and then discovered that you really need excellent antenna setups and cable lead-ins, etc. Otherwise the BLA complains of high SWR and sort of shuts down. And obviously you've got to treat that amplifier, it's this one actually, very well indeed, to avoid it blowing itself up, which I've managed to do so thus far. I just thought it'd be useful to have a radio with a bit more power. Now, going from 100 to 200 watts doesn't make a massive difference. It's half an S point, but there's absolutely no doubt that there are going to be occasions when that little bit of extra power will come in handy. And for that reason alone, I thought that this is the cheapest way to get 200 watts, that's for sure. And I can't justify it, so I'm selling. I tried to sell my IC756 to the club and to members of the club. No one was interested. So I am now selling two of my receivers on eBay, and both very nice receivers, but two receivers that I basically never use, but have used in the past, got a lot of use out of them, and I hope that they find new homes for someone to enjoy them. And although some of you might be upset that those two receivers are my Panasonic RFB65, which is for sale, and my Sony ICFS W07, and they're basically just two radios that I never use. So I'm selling those, and that will offset the cost of the Kenwood. Now, the guy who's selling the Kenwood, he's a lovely guy, and sort of said, just take it, you can pay me whenever, which was really nice of him. So yeah, I'm going to look forward to setting this radio up and then having access to a little bit more power. And that's going to happen this morning. So there you go. That's it from the shack. I hope you're all keeping safe. Bad news from Europe. A third wave. Bad news in obviously with the new lockdowns across Paris and areas of France and Germany. It sort of feels like this is never going to go away. I actually had my first vaccination injection at the beginning of the week, and I felt a bit rough, to be honest, for a couple of days. But I feel fine now, and thank goodness that well, in the UK at least, I think nearly 50% of the population have had their first jab, which is great, I wish you all the best. Keep safe. Hope you get your injection soon. Those of you that are in two minds about getting an injection, don't, just get it done. The benefits far outweigh any very, very small risks, in my personal opinion, in my humble opinion. So my view is that we should all get those injections done, and let's finally move on from this. And as Boris said, and there's not much that he says these days I agree with, about reclaiming our lives. Couldn't agree with that any more. So there you go. Anyway, 73s from the shack, and look forward to talking to you via the comments on the channel. Keep safe and have a great weekend. Bye.